free fun for everyone. Sold
Leonardo, the katana blade. My God.
Attack the evil Inhumanoid, forcing him back into the earth.
Hey, the name's Boglins. You sold separately.
We battle our Hino and Skeletor each sold separately. You put them out together. Turn them into the light, and they change into even more powerful.
Battle against Lion-O and the new Thundercat ally.
Hey, gamer. Did you ever have a toy as a child that you have lost over the years that you wish you had again?
Yeah,
What?
all of them.
No, come on. You still have a lot of your toys. What's something you had when you were little that you wish you still had?
There was this little... There goes Crazy Bones. There's this little guy. He looked like it was like a piano for a head. Like the keys were facing up. And he was orange, and he was my favorite one, and I dropped him, and just like a pen, he fell into the other dimension, and I never saw him again.
Alright, well, I kind of had something like that, but with a giant robot like this big. But I kind of got him back by buying a bootleg from Taiwan. And we're going to talk about that with this video. Let's take a look. Let's take a look, a watch. Let's take a watch. Let's take a watch at the look. Look at the watch. Watch this. Bandai's follow-up to Shogun Warriors was the BanDai GoDaiKin line, literally meaning super alloy big robot toys. I think, maybe? I don't really speak Japanese, that's the best I can translate it. Since these giant metal toys were already expensive to produce and expensive to ship to the US, Bandai decided to market this line without the help of Marvel Comics like Mattel had previously done with the Shogun Warriors, and instead sold these directly to consumers in an effort to help keep the costs down. But costs were still high to begin with. The initial wave of giant robots sold for as much as $80, which would cost over $200 when adjusting for inflation. While most of these toys were based off characters from Japanese anime and TV shows, they were brought to the US with no context. Bandai essentially said, "Hey kids, giant expensive robots. Buy these." And apparently they didn't. As the line continued, smaller and cheaper vehicles and figures were introduced, but the lack of animated tie-ins, backstories, and a consistent theme, combined with the higher than usual prices for toys, ultimately killed the line. Interestingly enough, Combatra from Shogun Warriors was released in the initial wave as a deluxe or DX figure, and this Leopardon figure was apparently Spider-Man's giant robot and tank from the Japanese version of the Spider-Man TV show. I don't think Marvel ever expected to see this toy in the US, and it's especially odd as Bandai decided not to work with Marvel on this line. Another oddity was this familiar-looking Go Lion toy. Why does he look so familiar? Now, not having all of these toys makes it tough to do a complete rundown of the line, and searching online doesn't give me a whole lot of pictures. Maybe if I spoke Japanese, or lived in Japan, or had a time machine and could go back to 1982? Hey, honey, can we get a hot tub?
I told you, no! And even if we did, it wouldn't necessarily be a hot tub time machine!
But somehow, as a kid, I had this. Gardian. I was 6 or 7 years old, so I have no idea where it came from or why, but I had that toy for years. In fact, I think I may have had most of the pieces right up until the flood that destroyed my basement back in 2012. But back when I was a kid, this was the coolest thing ever. Based on the Gardian Warrior anime, the human pilot Diego Otaki jumps into a mech suit named Protessor. Protessor can then hop into the bigger Dellinger, who, if things get bad enough, and let's face it, things always get bad enough, can hop into the giant Garben robot. I, of course, knew none of this. I just knew I had these giant robots with sharp bits and stabby bits and shooty bits. I wanted to get a replacement several years ago, and I wondered how tough it would be to replace my Gardian. Turns out they are somewhat difficult to find complete, and even more difficult to find for a price my wife won't kill me for. So I was mildly surprised to find this Protector robot. Apparently this Protector robot is the Taiwanese knockoff of the Gardian robot. There are a few subtle differences. Protector doesn't come with the little robot Panther Clint, even though he's on the box. And the stickers are a little different, even though I've seen pictures of ones that have the correct stickers, so I guess some knockoffs are better than other knockoffs, but otherwise it's a really good representation of the original figure. And of course mine came with a broken leg I had to fix myself, and it was missing the longest stabby sword, but I'm happy with it. I'm just so happy that, more or less, I have my original toy back. Okay, so, as you can see, this is Protector. So, Protector is the bootleg version of Gardian. So you can see the connection there, Gardian, Protector.
I don't...
Probably, you get it. You get it. Alright, so, inside the box here, we have our robotic Russian nesting dolls, and it all starts with this little guy right here. I'm going to hold him up to our camera here, if I can get it into focus. This is our human.
He's T-posing.
He's still not quite in focus. I don't know if this, maybe he's too small to focus perfectly. But anyway.
I can see him perfectly fine.
Well, yes, but I'm trying to get it for the people at home.
Wait, what? There are people here?
Yes, there are people in our home. The people at home. That's why they call them the people at home. There are people in our home.
All right.
So this is our little human, and this little guy, he's just a little plastic rubbery dude. And then you've got this robot, and you can take this robot, and you can open up his chest and his legs.
That looks painful.
And you slide the human in here. Now, I'm not sure if this guy is supposed to be... I always thought he was just a mech suit. I don't know if he's supposed to be like a full-on robot, or if he's just supposed to be like, robotic armor, like mech armor. But the idea is you put him in here, and sometimes the little rubbery feet are hard to get into the proper little foothold.
And this is why you saw off your kids' feet when they're first born.
Is that why they did it in Cinderella?
Yeah.
Is that why she sawed off her feet?
Yes.
Okay. So now you get him inside here. So now he's inside this little robot. And so now you've got this little robot with the little human dude. See, he's right inside. Inside there. And so now you've got a guy in a mech suit, and he can jump around and do stuff, and he's got a sword.
It's massive!
No, that's not his sword. That's for that guy. He's got this little sword.
That's
like a Christmas tree type thing.
That looks like the jousting stick.
Kind of. So anyway, and then so he can run around and do whatever, but then like if it gets to be too bad, and there's more danger and a bigger threat, then the red guy shows up. And the red guy, you open up his arms, and you open up his head and chest, and you open up his legs, and this red, white, and blue guy fits inside, and everything snaps up. And I'm trying to do this like with the phone in front of my face, so it's like kind of hard to see what I'm doing. All right, there we go. And so now you've got this big red robot with the other robot, and the human inside of it, and he can do neat stuff like shoot his fist. Woo!
Oh, it's missing. Uh-oh.
Put it back on. Put it back on. Right away. I'm not losing anything out of this guy. All right. So now he's there, and then he's got this sword, So he can come swashbuckling in, and he can be fighting. And so you've got this nifty-looking robot to come in and fight, right?
Oh, but now there's a giant playground that's attacking the city with lasers.
Oh no, a whole playground?
Yeah.
Hell, for that, we need a super giant robot, and for that, we've got this hulking behemoth, and this giant guy. We'll slide the box out of the way here. Oh, you didn't get the red fist in all the way here.
No, here, I'll do it now.
Oh, will you?
Yeah.
Now you will?
Yes.
So similar to before, you open up his arms, his head, his chest, his legs, and then you lay in the red robot, and you close everything up, and now you've got this giant blue robot with everything inside of it, and now he is your big guy who's defending the city. Mm-hmm. And now he's supposed to have a giant sword, which of course I lost. Or I didn't lose it. I never got one with this one because I bought this secondhand. I bought it used. But it does come with other weapons. And like, for instance, this, I have an extra fist because I used to have, this is the fist off the real one. And the fist off the real one and the fist off the bootleg one, you can see the color is different.
Yeah.
The size is just a little different.
The real one looks a bit more of like a teal, whereas this one looks more of like just a light blue.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. And then he has like this like punch weapon that you can put in his fist.
So those are headphones.
No. It does look like his headgear though. So he's got these things on his head, and it does look a lot like that. But it's actually a second set that's meant to go on his fist to punch things with.
Where's the giant axe go?
I think that's for the red guy. Ah. All right. Now, one of the biggest problems that these guys have are at the legs, on the knees. And that's because of the knee joint in here. And I'm going to show this real quick. This joint, the way it's made, there's this little notch right on the inside, and you see the leg, when it comes up, it's supposed to latch right on there and hold. But what happens is this plastic gets really brittle, and it breaks. Mm-hmm. And so you end up with legs like this. And the plastic piece for this is actually in the box. There's a small piece of, right there. Small piece of plastic, and that's the piece that actually goes in there. And funny story, that just broke off 2 days ago when I took this out of the box to take some pictures of it and do some video for the little recap video thing that everybody saw.
Good job!
Yeah, so that was fun. So I broke my toy for all of you people at home. So I hope you're satisfied.
They're never.
They're
Was
never,
a team, man.
They're never satisfied. But I always thought this guy, he kind of looks like Optimus Prime in the face from Transformers. But this is before Transformers, so
Optimus Prime looks like him.
But he also has spring-loaded fists that shoot out. He also has these spots in his legs where you can open it up and you can put in missiles, and there are little missiles in there. And in this one, no, in here, in the little plastic bag. In this version, this Taiwanese version, they're red. Oh, it's never been opened.
No, do you want to open it?
Yeah, let's open it. In this version, they're red missiles. In the original version, they are yellow missiles. So if you're ever wondering if you have a real one or a bootleg, one of the ways you can tell, possibly, is by looking at the missiles and whether or not the missiles are yellow or red. Okay, so let's take one of these missiles here, and you just put it right in there, and then you fire, and now it's gone forever.
And we ain't finding that.
That way. Yeah, that was a good shot.
That's pretty far.
That was this thing for as old as it is. And you can tell that it's old. I mean, you can see discolorization.
Discolorization.
Yes, discolorization. Here on the side where it's turning yellow, on the white plastic here, and the fact that it's turning brittle and starting to snap in the leg there. So this is old. This thing's ancient, and the fact that it still shoots like that is a sign of quality, even for the knockoff version The knockoff version is pretty high quality.
And now we can't have stuff like that because kids could shoot their eyes out or rob a bank.
Yeah, you're gonna rob a bank with one of these?
Well, do you want to get your eyes shot out?
Well, I guess not. But anyway, here, take a look at this. So you can see, like, pick it up. Parts of it, like the legs down here, are metal.
Yeah, I thought it was all plastic. It's actually some metal.
And so the other parts are plastic. So be a little careful with the knees there, though. But now open them up and take the other red guy out. So do a little bit of robot surgery here.
I don't want to snap it. I'm always scared I'm going to break things like these.
It's okay, I'll just take it out of your allowance for the next few years.
No. Oh, look at that beautiful stance. If that doesn't scream power, I don't know what does.
Now, one of the things that always amazed me as a kid, like when I was little, because I was like 6 or 7 when I got this thing, was trying to figure out how do you put a robot inside a robot inside a robot, and you can still bend the arms. And it's like the elbow of one robot is where the hand is on the other robot, and the shoulder of one robot is where the elbow is on the other robot, and everything can still bend, and the things can still move, and you can still move his arms up and down and move it around. And
yeah, I was actually just thinking that sitting here, and I think that's because they just made it well, manufactured well. Took obviously a lot of like making sure everything fit in right, making sure everything latched up right. If you look at it right here, that actually...
It's easier to line up if you move it straight. Like if you straighten it out, but yeah. But yeah, so when this came out, it was about $80. And this was in 1982.
Oh, so it was like $400.
So, well, $224 is what the inflation calculator says it would have cost today for the same amount of money.
Man. And someone bought you this?
I'm thinking it probably went on sale or went on clearance and was marked down a little bit, and that's how I ended up getting it. Like, I don't know if Grandma and Grandpa, you know, my mom and dad, your Grandma and Grandpa, if they picked it up for me because it was on sale, you know, it was on clearance at you know, whatever toy store, or if it's something, you know, my Aunt Jeannie, maybe she saw because she lived not far from a Toys R Us, so maybe she was at a Toys R Us, you know, down in where she lives, and she happened to run across it, so she bought it. I don't know. I have no idea, but you know, it's one of those things. I don't know where it came from because I was so little at the time, but I had that thing forever. And if you remember when you were about 5 or 6,
I don't.
No, 5 or 6. Yeah, when you were about 5 or 6, our basement flooded. You were down in the basement with us, and we had you carrying buckets up and taking them out the side door of the house and dumping them.
I haven't.
You don't remember that at all?
No.
There was like several feet of water in our basement. We ended up giving up and coming upstairs, and there ended up being like 3 or 4 feet of water in our basement. You don't remember that at all?
No.
Okay, well, yeah. So when that happened is when I think I lost the original robot. That's when all of those pieces, because we had to throw, you know, everything away that was down in the basement, clear everything out, because that was all icky backup sewage water that was coming into the house.
That means poop water.
With rain, well, mixed in with the rainwater. So
half poop water.
So yeah, I went online. I found this one. The leg was broken. This was actually in 2 parts. If you look real close, you can see there's some fingerprints from where I super glued it back together, and I got a little bit stuck on there. You can see it. I can see it. I can see it because I know it's there. There's,
Yeah, I can see. I can see what is the spot.
There's a little bit of residue right there.
Can we get a zoom in?
Maybe.
I think I just accidentally stuck.
Oh.
Well, yeah, we got to turn.
Kind of. Yeah, I don't. It's not going to focus on it. I don't think.
Just put some in.
You can see. It looks like there's a little bit of texture there, and that texture is my fingerprint with the super glue.
Just put some white dots in post, and
I'll put an arrow there or something. All right,
red arrow pointing.
So anyway, so a couple years ago, I found this online. It was about $60 because it was broken. It was old. It was missing the sword. And I actually, it was $60 or best offer. And so I made the guy, and the guy it was like $20 shipping, so I made the guy an offer of $40 plus $15 shipping, and he ended up taking the offer. So I think I got a pretty good deal on it, and I was happy to get my toy back. And this is one of my favorite, like I said, this is one of my favorite toys as a kid. And this is one of these things, I keep it on the shelf right over there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so this is one of those things where it's like if the house is on fire or something,
you want to grab it?
Like that's one of the things I grab on my way out the door. I mean, I might wake you up, maybe, but I'm definitely grabbing that.
It's
and the autographed picture of Billy D. Williams.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't you want that? Yeah, no, this is cool. Like if I was 3 years younger, I could still see myself like setting this up and messing around with it.
Now, if I remember correctly, though, this guy, the human, he was a lot more rubbery in the original one, whereas here he's more of a hard plastic in this version of him. Now, the other thing that I remember being different is that these had numbers on them right here on the chest. So this had a number 3, this had a number 2, and this had a number 1, and it's also sculpted on the back. So you can see here there's a number 1 on his back. They also had names. So he's had Protessor written across his abdomen there. This was Dellinger he had written there, and this was Garbin. Which, of course, those names meant nothing to me, but it was from a Japanese anime.
Alright, I'm out.
And so that anime, of course, never played here. No one around here knew anything about it. They didn't, bring the anime over or bring the story over. They were just like, hey, look, it's a giant robot. Kids play with a giant robot. And so we just had some giant robot toys that had no story or anything to them.
It even still kind of works without the guy inside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. And that was part of the point of these toys, is that they could be 3 robots that could also run around on their own and have personalities. And then they could join together. Oh, that's mean. They could have personalities, and then they could join together, and then they would be stronger by fusing together somehow. So,
like Dragon Ball Fusion,
like Power Rangers, like Voltron.
Which one came first?
Well, interesting note, Voltron was actually part of this line when it came to the U.S. It was known as GoLion. They didn't have the cartoon. It wasn't known as Voltron. So it was just like, hey, here's some robots. They're lions, and they come together to make a robot, and nobody paid any attention to it. So it wasn't until the cartoon came over later that they re-released the toys along with the cartoon, and that's when people paid attention to it.
Do you have any of the classic toys?
From Voltron?
Yeah.
Well, I do have some of the from when the cartoon came over, yes, but not from this line. If I had them from this line, they'd be worth a lot of money.
Well, maybe sometimes we can look at those Voltron sets.
Oh yeah, we can do Voltron at some point in the future.
Are you guys interested in Voltron? Let us know. Leave a comment. It pleases the YouTube algorithm.
Please leave the YouTube algorithm. Is that what you said?
Leave a comment. It pleases the YouTube
Oh,
algorithm.
it pleases. I see. All right. Well, let's get this out of the way for now. And let's get to the mailbag.
The best part
of waking up. Here, set this on the floor over there or something. All right. Let's cover some of this stuff. Yeah, and another thing that's neat about these is that, except for that knee problem, they do display really well because they are, stand at attention robots. Of course, our table is not sitting on flat ground, and it's a little pop-up folding table, and I'm typing on it, so it doesn't always work.
Can you stop moving? Thanks.
Thanks. All right, last week's episode on Mask, some of you noticed there was a little bit of an issue uploading the episode. The episode was ready to go and uploaded by about, 10 in the morning. I had it uploaded. And then we were waiting, and I reached out to YouTube support, and they didn't know what was going on, and they were trying to look at it, and they couldn't figure out what the problem was. And so eventually they realized there was something happened in the encoding process. There was some sort of issue with it. So they asked me to re-encode the video, so I had to go back to my video editing program. I had to output the video a second time, re-upload it. It errored out on my personal YouTube page and on the Pop Culture Network YouTube page, so whatever the error was, it was something that YouTube just could not handle. So I had to do it a second time, so the episode didn't go up until, I don't even remember when. It was sometime later in the afternoon. So it was like hours after, you know, like I had it ready to go early in the morning, and it just kept giving errors and problems, and they kept saying like, oh, well, you know, give it some time, give it 20 minutes, it'll probably be, well, give it another half hour, we'll give it an hour, it'll be fine. And then eventually it just gave me an error, like YouTube actually popped up on the screen saying we can't process this video, and so support was like, yeah, we need you to re-encode that a different way and send it up, which is weird because I didn't change anything on my end. So something changed on their end, and I don't know what it was. So,
and people wonder why, and YouTube wonders why people don't really like this site.
I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, I got it up eventually, and so here are some of the comments that we got from it. First of all, Writer Origin wrote in. He said, the episode was great. I only knew the basic premise of the line, so I found this video quite entertaining. The setup looks much nicer now, too, with everything appearing much more clearer because of the lighting. Those tidbits about the show's inception are always fun to listen to also. So, first of all, I'm glad you enjoyed the episode. I always try to do some research into the stuff and where it comes from. That's kind of the point of the, you know, the little video package that we have at the beginning. Like talking about where this toy came from. If I just said, hey, look, here's a toy, and the robots all pop together, you'd be like, okay, well, that's cool, but like, where did it come from, you know? Obviously, I couldn't do a whole breakdown of the entire line of toys, but at least now you have an idea of where this toy came from, and some of the interesting stuff that was related to this toy. As far as the lighting, yeah. So what we ended up doing, if you remember, if anybody was watching this channel months and months ago, when I first started doing the news desk stuff back around Thanksgiving, Black Friday, back in that time period, I was talking about how I had made a podcasting setup out of Castle Grayskull. And so what we ended up doing is we reincorporated Castle Grayskull back into the filming process, and it's a secondary lighting source. So I have our usual lighting source that's over here, and usually we sit facing this direction with the one light shining on us, but turning this way, you know, it was easier for the two of us to sit here and have the table set up and film this stuff. But then also, we can incorporate Castle Grayskull back into it. It has a light coming out of it, and then it's a full podcasting setup if we ever want to use that. The idea is it's mobile. We can plug that into a laptop. It's got a camera and a microphone and the light built into it. So it is a full setup itself.
Plus, we get all the cool backgrounds.
Right.
Not entirely. We have a bunch of cool stuff you can't really see over here.
But there's a whole bunch of stuff back, like this is literally like my office area back here. So this is what it always looks like back over in this part of the house.
Maybe one day we could do one and see my area.
You'd have to clean your floor enough though that you could actually walk in there.
It is.
I don't.
You had me.
I don't
do
believe
that
it.
the last few weeks.
I don't believe it. I'll have to double check. I'll have to look again. So yeah, so we brought in the second light, and that brightens things up quite a bit. So hopefully that makes it look nicer. The other thing I wanted to reincorporate were the microphones, the lavalier mics. I can only find one of them though. I have two.
I ate the other one.
And I've used the single one before. Like last week when I was doing some of the different stuff, I had the single mic on me. When we're doing the table stuff, I would love if we were both mic'd, but I can't find the second one. I don't know what happened to it. So I may order a replacement one, or hopefully I can dig it out. It might be somewhere around here. I don't know. It should be with the other one in the bag of all the stuff I record with, and for some reason it's not. So that would be probably the last step to really, you know, finally get everything going, would be to get those mics on, and then we got the good audio of us sitting right here talking.
If anyone needs the mic, really it's me, because I just don't like speaking loud like this.
Yeah, well, and sometimes we also trail off when we're talking for a long time.
Yeah,
we get kind of tired, and you just kind of, whatever.
Hey, look, Robot Man.
Anyway, so, and the tidbits about the show's inception are always fun to listen to also, and yeah, there's so much stuff. There's so much development that we went through behind the scenes, like just ideas, brainstorming, putting this stuff together, and then there's stuff that a lot of you guys don't even know about that happened behind the scenes, like the TV show that we had in production for a while, in development, and that's a story we'll save for another day.
Yeah.
Let's see, Bart D-Man95 Lobbyworks said, I'm glad the video got uploaded the second time you tried it. He was actually watching the drama unfold on Facebook with all my angry messages coming across with YouTube. But he said, we had bootleg cheapo mask figures in my part of the globe. He lives over in Singapore? Is that right? Man, I think it's Singapore, right? Bart, forgive me, but is it Singapore? I believe it's Singapore.
It would make it so much easier if you guys just put in your names, like...
Bart from Singapore! No, but I think it's Singapore, right. Let's see. They used one color plastic for each part, so they look like test shoots. Sadly, I threw away mine when people donated legit mask toys to me. I regret it. Yeah, I wish you hadn't done that either, because I would love to see those. I would love to see... I love bootlegs and knockoffs, generally speaking. Despite the fact that with something like this, a full version of this figure, a complete in-box, unopened version of this they go for about $1,000. There's no way I'm paying $1,000. I paid, $55 for a broken bootleg that I could fix. I'm not paying $1,000 for a replacement toy. And they're nearly impossible to find complete. That's part of the reason why they are so expensive.
I've always liked the bootlegs and that sort of stuff. One thing I've really loved is like factory molds, like the stuff that has like the full colors, the prototypes,
right.
all that sort of stuff.
And I do have some of those for the Infinite Heroes figures, and I have some of those for Mighty Max, but the ones I have are the little figures, but they were the hand-painted ones that they used in the catalog shoots of some of the individual people. That's something that maybe we can show someday. I
only have some Skylanders ones, at least 2, that we picked up at some point.
Do you?
Yeah, because we have a full white, like the bird guy, the one that you don't know. I remember it very vividly. So I'm like, oh my gosh, the character is normally like a black bird, but now he's like fully white, so is the base.
I think that was like a Christmas edition thing. I don't think that was a factory...
No, I think it is. I don't
know. We'll have to look into that. We'll have to see some more.
You can look into it right...
Not right now. But anyway, yeah, and that's another thing, like with Transformers, there's a lot of bootleg Transformers, a lot of them show up at like the dollar stores and places like that, and I do like to pick up a lot of those sometimes, especially the combiners. Sometimes you can't uncombine them, discombine them. I don't know. I don't know what the correct
disassembled.
term. Well, I mean disassembled, but they are combiners. So I'm trying to think of like the uncombine, I guess, discombine. But you can get like a smaller, it's downscaled a little bit, but it'll be like a Devastator or whatever. And it's of all the pieces together as the big giant robot, but it's obviously an off-brand. Instead of the Decepticon symbol, there's like wave lines in the middle of the logo or something like that. But those are always neat, put on your shelf type things to have. You can't really play with it the same way, although those are okay, like if you're going to have like a battle with your toys, one of those things that you get from like the dollar store, or you pay like $5 at Five Below or Tuesday Morning or one of those type places, it can get a little beat up and you don't feel so bad compared to playing with your G1 Transformers or even your newer, remake ones that are more expensive. So,
they let people say that on there?
Say what? Oh. Well, YouTube will allow it. I mean, YouTube allows a lot of stuff on there. We don't repeat things that we see said on the internet in this household.
You literally just...
Anyway, Kurt Novoselic writes in to say, so in 2021, will this show still be called That New Toy Smell 2020, or will it be That New Toy Smell 2021, or perhaps That New Toy Smell Part 3, for this being the third version of the show?
It will be That New Toy Smell Gamer Edition, because I'm the coolest one and I'll be the only one doing it.
No. Okay, so we do have a little bit of news on that as far as that goes. So the idea is that, similar to seasons, like sports, that type of thing, where it's always whatever year it is, it's that season of the sport. This is going to be the year plus the episode number. So this episode right now is 2020-7. That is the official episode designation, is 2020-7. So it's episode 7 in the year 2020. And the reason why I did this is because as I was going through recovering these old episodes and doing those flashbacks for the Nerd News Desk, and digging up this old stuff, it was so hard a lot of times because I had raw files, and the files didn't have any sort of designation of when they actually were from, and it's hard to go through and try to figure out, like I'll have something, it'll be a news desk, and it'll just say, Rant News Desk, and I have no idea what episode it's from. You know what I mean? So trying to reassemble an episode with these pieces just makes it really hard to figure out where things go together. So I like the idea of just saying, if we're going to make a piece, then it's Review 2020-7. It's Table Talk 2020-7. It's Past Your Bedtime 2020-7.
Yeah,
as you sit here and yawn. You've gone to bed early the past few nights, I've noticed, by the way.
It's because you're just so boring.
Yeah. So in 2021, yes, it'll be That New Toy Smell 2021-1, 2021-2, so forth. And having said that, if you notice the other show that we have going on right now, Video Game Losers, that is also following the same numbering protocol, 2020-1, 2020-2. It'll be doing the same thing, 2021-1, 2021-2. Having said that as well, we've decided we're going to do this show in 10 episode chunks. So what that means is, we are in episode 7 right now. This is That New Toy Smell, episode 7 of 2020. When we get to 10 of this and 10 of Video Game Losers, then we will take a break. And we'll take a break for a month and a half or so. And then we were going to come back in September with 2020-11. So we will start with 11 and do 11 through 20 of the episode. So it'll still be following the same numbering because it's still the same year, but now we'll be doing 11 through 20 of the year, but we are going to put a break in the middle.
We've got some big plans.
We do have some plans, but here's the reason. We're doing the break for a couple of reasons. One is because there are some other things that we want to try out, things that we want to do, and doing these shows takes a lot of time and focus, so giving us a break gives us the opportunity to try a few other things. You want to try some other gaming-related things and some Let's Plays and stuff like that.
Pop Culture Live is what I'm thinking of calling it.
You want to do a live thing. I also want to do some more research into things. We've gotten some great ideas from toy lines from you guys that you want to look into. And one of the things we want to do is when we do those toy lines, like when I did the mask one, I did a video that was covering the whole toy line, but then we had essentially 3 of the toys here to play with. So if I'm going to cover something like King Arthur and the Legends of the Knights and Dragons, or whatever it was called, I'm not going to buy all of the figures and all of the horses and all of that stuff. But to have 2 of the figures and 1 horse, something like that, have a couple of those figures that we can sit and play with and talk about and do some up-close stuff here at the table to follow up after the video. I think it's important to have something to have our hands on to actually hold and feel and talk about.
Yep.
So having the break allows us to have some time to kind of track down some of this stuff. Also, we want to look into going out and doing maybe some interview segments, doing some on-location stuff.
Some more skits.
But also traveling and doing like Saga Toys, maybe going down there and filming some stuff in the store. For Video Game Losers, there is an actual arcade called the Video Game Museum. That's about a half hour north of here in McLean, Illinois. So we may try to get up there and film some stuff on location there. So there are other things that we want to research, we want to look into, we want to try to get our hands on, we want to, whatever. So putting a break allows us to get into some of that stuff, and then to try some of the other stuff. Like there's some comic stuff I want to talk about and try to get into, and some other things. So the break allows us to not get burned out with everything we're doing, and allow us to also kind of work a buffer, so we can work ahead a little bit. So if someone gets sick, if we randomly decide to take a vacation and we're going for a week, we have something in the hopper that we just have to, do some finishing touches, do a mailbag, and it's ready to go, stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why. So then when we come back in the spring of 2021, we'll do 10 episodes, we'll take a break, we'll do another 10 episodes, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll see where we're at in the year, depending on how much of a break, how long it takes before we get started, that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll do another 10. I don't know if we're going to have time to do 30. I mean, there's 52 weeks. I don't know. We'll have to see. But when we do take the break, that doesn't mean, though, you won't see toy content, and you won't see things like that. For instance, when we come back and do the final 10 episodes, that'll take us through Halloween. So we'll be doing a Halloween special as part of the show. But then we'll be done shortly after Halloween, but we'll probably do something for Thanksgiving, something for Christmas, some stuff like that. Maybe a Black Friday shopping special, stuff like that. So you will see specials and maybe us giving toy gifts to other people.
We're going to start doing a daily vlog.
No, we are not.
12 minutes long each episode.
Okay, maybe. And you just destroyed one of the hard drives I've been pulling episodes off of. Okay, so anyway.
Here's Tron.
Go put that back. So that is the plan. 10 episodes. When we finish this group of 10, we're going to take a break. We'll come back to another group of 10, take a break. Then we'll do some holiday specials, go into next year. And then in that break time, you'll see some pop-ups here and there where we do some quick, some toy reviews, some vlogs, some travel, whatever, some behind-the-scenes stuff, whatever, that kind of stuff. So it's not all going to go away in those down periods, and you'll see some new things pop up, some new ideas, some ideas we've been incubating that may turn into full-fledged other shows. So we'll just have to see how all that plays out. And then finally, we've got Wed Tilson of the That Checks Out podcast. That name sounds familiar, but and he says, I had Boulder Hill, and I'm pretty sure I still have the hill. And I replied to him, I said, well, what did you do with the boulder? And he said it was never in the box. We wrote to Kenner customer service a few times to get a replacement, and I think you can figure out how that went. I had a boulderless Boulder Hill from Mask.
So you had a hill.
So he had a hill. So, like, I was telling you about Boulder Hill.
Yeah.
It had the rock on top, and you'd hit a button, it would fall off and tumble. His did not have that boulder at the top, so it was missing from the box. That's terrible. Like,
loser!
That's one of the main gimmicks. Like, that's part of the point of having the whole thing. So, alright, well, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, right?
No.
Oh, my mistake.
Manned!
I see. I must have heard that wrong then when I was younger. Alright, guys. I think that's going to do it. That's all the news and everything that we have for today. So,
and we have delivered your episodely tangent. So,
don't forget you can email me dirt@popculturenetwork.com or dirt@thepopc.net. You can find Gamer on his YouTube channel, which is PD Buddy, which we'll put a link down to below.
Somewhere.
Or on Twitch at For The Gamers.
Yep.
Which is FOUR, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, well, and we'll have a link to that also down below. Don't forget our Teespring store. You can find stuff there. We'll have some new stuff going up there in the next... actually, I think it's about a week away. About a week we'll be debuting some new products there, so keep an eye on that. You can also call our 24-hour voice mail line. It's area code 217-953-4025. Don't forget to join the official Pop Culture Network Facebook group. You can find the URL right there on the screen. You can go there and vote on the best Masters of the Universe figure of all time. And we will. That's probably going to be episode 10.
And Disco Skeletor is winning, right?
Sure. Yeah. So if you don't want Disco Skeletor to win, you better go there and vote. Yeah, so that's going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
No, I'm just pretend to poke your eyes. Then it's like, what do I? What up his nose? Wait, no, it's too late. What am I? All right, well that's gonna.